Hi, it's Joe Hyde. I'm with San Angelo Live, and next to me here is Mayor Dwayne Morrison, or former mayor.
That's the old, worn-out ex-mayor.
Ex-mayor.
Yes.
Yes, and of course, Dwayne Morrison and I kind of came up in the political world. Well, he came up in the political world way before me, but he taught me everything there is about San Angelo politics.
Yeah.
But Dwayne, what do you think is going on tonight with that sheriff's race?
I tell you what, there's some upset stomachs.
What would you be telling them
I'm
right
gonna tell
now?
you what, I'm not even going to call this race.
You're not going to call the
I'm
race?
not going to call this race. This one is going to be very, very close.
All right, I'll call the race.
Okay? Call it.
I'm scared. If I'm wrong, you guys will kill me.
You know,
Actually, I'm going to tell you this. I think that Muncie worked his butt off. I mean, did you see? I mean, when I was driving to the rodeo, when we were doing the
Yes.
covering rodeo, every yard sign on the north side of San Angelo had a Muncie sign. I mean, a lot of momentum it seemed like he had. But you know, one of the things about yard signs that I learned back in 2004 in Del Rio is that yard signs don't win elections.
Yeah.
They don't vote.
they sure get your attention, though.
Do you think so?
Oh, yes.
You think that?
Yes.
But you never really were a big yard sign guy.
The last two elections I ran for mayor in 13 and in 15, I put out, and I didn't use the big signs. When I went those last two elections, I just used the little signs, and I think I put out close to 1,000 of them each year.
1,000 signs.
Yes.
And then, of course, you had to have your friends to help you out with the big 2x4 signs.
I didn't even have those.
You didn't have
I didn't
those?
use the big signs. No, I used just the little signs those last
But-
two elections.
I mean, I know this is a terrible thing for San Angelo to bring up a Del Rio metaphor or Del Rio comparison, but I worked on Mayor Dora Alcala's election back in 2004, and she was running against a guy named Robert Garza. And Robert Garza eventually won
Yes, I knew Robert.
mayor, but he didn't beat Dora Alcala in 2004 because Alcala had good people on her team, me. Anyway, but I had some business people come into town that day or visit during that campaign, and all they saw were Robert Garza signs. Every corner was a Robert Garza sign. So the first thing he says to me was, "Hey, is Robert Garza going to be your next mayor?" And I'm like, "Nope." You know, but I wasn't sure because those signs are intimidating, especially for the other side. If you outdo them on the signs.
And the last election I ran, my opponent started a month before I did. He had signs out a month
Who's
before I did.
you talking about?
Nowlin, David Nowlin.
David Nowlin?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a good campaign. I mean, there was no fights or anything, but he started before I did.
Right.
So I had to play catch up, and I had people calling me and asking me, "What are you waiting for?" But
What are you waiting for as far as
Yeah, as
signs
far as
go?
putting my
Because they
signs.
saw that the Nowlin had all these beautiful red, white, and
he
blue.
had a bunch of them.
Yeah, signs
He had a
everywhere.
bunch of them.
Yeah. So were you a little intimidated at that time?
No.
No, not at all. Oh, come
That
on.
was my 7th election.
Well, the first time you ran for mayor, you had absolutely the best radio commercial ever heard. And the line I remember from it was, "I will never lie to you." A politician had the gonads to say, "I will never lie to you." That was Dwayne Morrison. But you're sincere in it. I could tell you were sincere in it.
We made those commercials, my wife and I had my nieces working for me. I've got some beautiful nieces. Oh, I found
Right.
out if you've got a beautiful niece, a beautiful girl that can get up and, that's the best thing in the world.
Right.
And I used my daughter-in-law and I used my nieces, and they're all good. They're very special.
Right.
And I wrote part of it, they wrote part of it, and we just went in.
And you put them out there, and then that was a really tough one because you had to go through a runoff.
Yes.
You made it to the runoff,
Yes.
and you had to go through a runoff, and you were going up against Kendall
Two good
Hirschfield.
people.
Yeah, two
Two
guys.
good, strong,
And
well-known,
Paul Alexander.
well-represented
Yeah.
people that have as much history in this town. as
Did
I
you
do.
have any idea you were going to win that thing?
Yeah.
You thought you were going to
Yeah,
win at the
I
time?
didn't go in it to lose.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't go in it to lose. If I did, I was going to go down fighting.
Well, when we get back, we're going to take just hey, Manny. Manny's our control guy. Manny Diaz. Everyone say hello to Manny. Where'd he go? We don't have anyone in here.
He walked off.
We are totally uncontrolled. We can say anything we want. But anyway, throughout the night, as the election returns come in, we're going to be right here, and we'll be bringing in various political figures of San Angelo, Texas, and beyond. We're hoping
winners and losers.
Winners and losers. It doesn't matter because if you're in the game, you are doing something to help. I mean, if these guys were to walk into their offices unopposed, we'd have no issues. We'd have no airing of the issues and things that need to be said. But hopefully, we'll have August Pfluger here too.
I'd like to see him.
Yeah, we're working with his campaign. Yeah, he's a support pilot. He's not, he's not like a real pilot. He's a support pilot. Well, the funny, the people from home don't probably know what that is.
Yeah.
But there's a big going joke in the Air Force. Fighter pilots think they own the Air Force, right? Yeah. So we always say, you fighter pilots are just support pilots, so that the bomber pilots like me can get to the target, And then they'll say, well, I saved your life and all that kind of stuff. So it's, back and forth, back and forth. But
Air Force rhetoric.
Yeah, whatever. It's fun stuff. But when we come back, Manny, can you put this on pause for a second, or you want to just let it run? We can just let it run. Let's just let it rip. Is anyone talking on this thing? Do we have any audience? Anyone out there?
45 right now that are kind of watching with us.
45 people are watching.
Yes.
45. Let's see.
That's how many votes I got last time I ran.
Oh, come on. You blew it away last time you ran. I remember another thing about last time you ran. I remember they had a debate, and the Standard Times, I shouldn't even say that on the air here, but the Standard Times, evil corporate media.
Yes, I understand.
They wouldn't let anyone ask any questions, so you had to submit the little questions. So I'm back there, spamming the bucket.
Yeah, I saw you.
Oh, you saw me. But you read a letter. You read a letter that
My son wrote that.
You said your son, and this is Darren Morrison?
Brian.
Brian Morrison, your middle son? Okay. Yes. So Brian Morrison wrote this letter to you about how you don't know anything. It was kind of a beautiful moment. I was like, that was actually I think a genius moment.
Well, the old man that was reading it had tears in his eyes. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean you left nothing on the table in that one.
That was. No, my son wrote that.
Uh-huh.
My kids are all a lot smarter than I am.
And if y'all want to see it, I'm sure it's in the city archives.
Somewhere.
But it was
Cincinnati.
All right. But right now, what we want to do is we want to bring in. We have Nick Hanna here. Let's bring Nick Hanna on board. Nick Hanna, everybody. Hey, where's the applause?
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Where are you going to put him? In the middle.
Let's see.
We're going to move these chairs around
Yeah.
Put them in the middle.
Yeah.
Who
wants to be in the middle?
The candidate. All right. How's
I have to do Jeopardy.
Okay, million questions. So you have to answer is what is for every answer.
Oh, okay. I got what is. What is your question?
There you go. But anyway, this is Nick Hanna, Nick Hanna on all his campaign signs.
Right.
And you are running for sheriff, Tom Green County Sheriff, and you used to be a Texas Ranger. Actually, do you ever used to be a Texas Ranger, or you are a Texas Ranger, former Texas Ranger? How do you do it?
We kind of feel like once a Ranger, always a Ranger.
Right.
It's one of those.
Kind of like an Aggie. An Aggie can never be an alumni. He's only a former student. Right.
When you walk in a room with Rangers, it's just a brotherhood. It's kind of a neat experience, and they say if you can be known by the company you're kept in. I like being in that company because they're just solid guys, and I love them, and I'm proud to be part of them. And I will tell you that having that part, being this side of the career and looking back, you can almost enjoy it because there's almost an expectation when you're a Ranger of that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to screw that up, but. So we went from one challenge to another, hopefully, and we're going to pursue that if God allows, with the same enthusiasm and vigor that I do the Ranger, tenacity.
What was the campaign like?
A surprise, an eye-opening surprise, and nobody told me. You ever see that little caption where nobody told me this was going to happen, but you wake up in the middle of the night, you think about all the things you have to do the next day. And the family puts a lot of stress on the family. I missed some tennis matches, and we're going to make that up this weekend. The Wall team qualified for state team tennis, so we're going to go watch them. And then the very best girls are playing down there, so we're excited.
Right,
about
they're
that.
going to state, right?
Yeah, they're going to state.
Yeah.
And so we got some good things going on. We're excited.
How's your family holding up? How's your wife doing?
She's doing, yeah.
You know, the wives are always more into it than the guys are, aren't they?
You know, she's tough. She calls high school and college basketball, so she has some thick skin. And she's doing well. She's really kind of managed the campaign and kind of kept me on track. And she has such a good sense of what should be put out there and what shouldn't. And I think she developed that over her years from DPS and with the Rangers. And so she's kind of my rock, and we don't always agree. And sometimes I think maybe she should be running for office, but she's doing well, and I'm thankful for her, and we're looking forward to that.
Dwayne, you got any other questions? You got it. You're just over here going,
I
what?
tell you what, this has been an interesting campaign between you and Muncie, and I think the way I see it, I've got my favorites.
Sure.
But I don't see how the community can lose.
Well,
You have such tremendous credentials, and you've got an excellent reputation. You've worked hard. Keith Muncie is the same thing. He has spent his life with these kids, with these DARE programs. He's been all over the community, and people love him. People love him. He's a good man.
oh, absolutely. You know, he's invested in the community.
He really
he's invested
is.
in the schools, and you know. You know, when you have a stick, you've got to stick with it. You can't really copy anybody else.
You can't copy the
gotta have
rattlesnake?
your
Well, you can
own.
get a
Yeah.
Cobra.
Yeah.
Nobody knew the old Lakeview boy from the wrong side
No,
of the tracks. I had to have something that would set me apart. And they still don't know who I am, but they know who that rattlesnake.
You're just a poor boy that rose
Just
up
a
on his
poor
own.
boy that rose
I
up
know
on
it.
the wrong
I
side
know
of the
it.
tracks.
I know it. And I know your daughters and your nieces, and they are beautiful.
They
and,
are.
They
I've
are
got
sweet girls.
nobody disagrees with me when I say that.
No. That's Susanna. I saw her
Isn't
ride
she
that
a
horse,
doll?
and yeah, she's.
I think she was carrying the American flag in the rodeo this
Oh, I
this
think
year.
she was. I know I saluted. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
while you're all talking, do we have anyone asking questions or anything? Is there any comments, or is it just people like, can't believe they're doing this?
Let's check it out.
Because we're going to be here for a long time, guys. We need some interaction.
Are we up over 45 yet?
45,000 or 45 people?
45 people.
55.
We're at 55. We're growing.
We're growing.
Slowly,
That's a big
slowly.
percentage growth.
Yes.
Growing.
Big.
That's my watch party.
Your watch party. No, those are Muncie people. They're spying on you. Intel.
Yeah. Well, you know, what's done is done now. So
That's
either
right.
It is or it isn't.
Nothing's
We're
going to
gonna
happen.
find
Yeah.
out. Right.
So what are you going to do for a celebration or for, I don't know, what do you do if you don't win? Is it not called a celebration?
Well, we're doing the same thing either way. I've got work to do tomorrow, and then you know, like I said, my daughter, her team qualified for state team tennis. We're going to go watch.
So
some
life
tennis.
goes on?
Yeah, we're going to go watch some very best basketball at the girls' state tournament. That's always a great place to relax and blow off steam and enjoy. You know, there's nothing like a small community that gets behind a team and faces. You know,
And very best is always got a team.
they always have a team.
Every one of those very
And
best.
this,
Boys
but
and
this,
girls.
this is the first time they're going to state. And they're
Do we have
playing
something coming in?
Nazareth, and you know they say you judge your greatness by the greatness of your opponent.
All right, we got some results. We got some results coming in.
Well, our wall.
Are you nervous? Do you want to see them first? You do,
No, I want to actually.
Standing lead among Tom Green County voters, 85%. 85% of the votes are in his favor so far, and this is with early voting. And then 10 minutes before this, we were talking the polls for the state primary election closed at 7 p.m. is what he said. And an election official said there were about 100 people still in line at about 7:15. So we had really strong turnout.
You want to give Hannah's results one more time?
Yeah, right now we're looking at, as of 7:24, with the early votes, some of the early votes being counted. Nick Hanna is leading Keith Muncie for Tom Green County Sheriff. 3,777 votes for Hanna and 1,803 votes for Muncie.
That makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. If you can win the early voting.
Okay, I want to go spend time with my family and
Good.
my
All right,
kids, okay?
thank you for
All right,
coming,
you
Nick.
bet. Y'all have a great
All right,
day.
take care.
Okay. Thank y'all for having me.
All righty. Well, what do you think?
Well, I really thought it would be closer than that. I honestly thought it
Yeah.
would be closer.
What do you think? You know, usually what I hear, what I've seen as an observer, we need to move closer, I think.
Okay.
Well, maybe we just leave, let's just leave this gap here because we don't know who's going to come in here. I think I saw Lane Carter a second
Lane's
ago.
out there.
Anyway. Primary election in 2016 between Carmen Dusick and Brad Goodwin for judge. You saw a late term surge by Dusick. You know, so Brad Goodwin trounced her in early voting, but on election day she was like a half point off or something like that. That's the only time I've seen it kind of change, but it wasn't enough. The surge wasn't enough to overcome those early votes. So. Anyway, looks like Nick Hanna is heading for re-election, or not re-election, for election. We don't want to call it yet, but 3,777 votes for Nick Hanna in the early voting to Muncie's 1,803. And Yantis Green with San Angelo Live is, of course, monitoring all the results. We got 85% of the vote going to.
We did that in Midland too.
Who's that?
I hope Pfluger got 85
Well,
in Midland.
if he gets 85 if he gets 85 here, and we have a big turnout, it doesn't matter what Midland does. I mean,
we need him in there.
yeah, we need him in here. And this is the first time. August is probably going to win, even if there's a runout. He's probably going to win. So August Pfluger's probably going to win. This is the first time we've had a congressman from San Angelo since O.C. Fisher.
O.C. Fisher.
O.C. Fisher, and that was 1974 or 1975 when he ended.
Janelle, what?
He was the House. He was the Texas House, I believe. So he was the. But yeah, it was O.C. Fisher was our last congressman. So this is really exciting for San Angelo. We're going to be in the catbird seat, baby.
Keep going, Pfluger.
Yeah. How many people we got online? Is anyone asking any questions?
48.
Just 48. And we just announced Hanna winning, 3,777 1,803 over Keith Muncie, and we can only get 48 people to look. I think we're being suppressed by the liberals at
I think
Facebook.
so. The liberals have got us.
All right, we're up to 56. All right.
Well, promise free education and free schooling and free money and free medical.
Are you talking about Bernie? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is I'm Joe Hyde with San Angelo Live. This is Dwayne Morrison. He's a former mayor of San Angelo. He is an infamous mayor of San Angelo. And that's
Absolutely.
all right. We have Democratic primary. Why don't you see what they got going on there? But is your man Bernie winning? Is Bernie winning?
Bernie Sanders is at 27.3. Elizabeth Warren is at 24.6.
Wow.
Joe Biden obviously found the
Yeah.
place to go.
Right.
He's at 18.7.
He's only at 18.7?
18.7. Bloomberg's at 15.2.
You mean Bernie is beating
Bernie is beating Biden? Yes.
in Texas?
I can't believe that. A man that is a professed communist come out and promising everything in the world free, and people are voting for him.
Well,
Go Trump.
now, if you're a Democrat or you're against Trump, just realize that San Angelo Live is not biased at all. But I voted for Trump too. I admit it. But it's sometimes we're just going to have to be biased.
I'm an ex-mayor. I can be biased.
But Bernie Sanders winning the state of
Bernie
Texas
Sanders.
with
And
20.
What does that say? 0.3% of the.
Yeah, 0.03% reporting. There you go. So they must be reporting like one precinct in Austin.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, Lori, yeah, bring us. I'd love to have a water. Are you bringing water to us?
Bring one, yeah, I've got one. That one for him. Do you
All
want
right. Yeah, I'll take one. Dwayne Morrison, former mayor of San Angelo, Texas. Joe Hyde, San Angelo Live. We're here with you all night until we get all the results in. We just dropped the first set of results, Nick Hanna, with 3,777 votes to Keith Munsey's 1803 in the Tom Green County race for sheriff. That's with some of the early votes reporting. That's some of the early voting reporting. And then also,
Is that all boxes early voting?
I don't think
I guess
so.
it would be.
Well, I don't know. It's close to all
It
boxes.
should be with early voting.
Yeah. Well, early voting was about 8,000 people though, so I think that's probably half.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
you have about 1,000 Democrats. Yeah. And so, and I'm thinking 1,000 Democrats and 7,000 Republicans, something like that. Maybe 2,000 Democrats, and they all helped
And they all voted
for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, Bernie Sanders. But anyway, we're having a party here at San Angelo Live. This is our studios, and if you see right behind us, we have this nice wall and live thing and all that kind of stuff. And we use the studio a lot now for interviewing politicians who are running for office, and we have fun back here. We're just kind of testing things out and see how things go.
I think I saw snacks as I came in the
Yeah,
door.
food. Yeah, food. I won't say what kind of beverages, but we do have beverages, and like water, very good. And anyway, you know who else is here is Harry Thomas.
I'm gonna tell you what, he's a strong councilman, isn't he?
I wonder if we can get Harry Thomas on here and to defend all his decisions in the last 3 years. Oh no, there's Lane Carter. No, we want Lane Carter. Come in here, Lane Carter. Okay. You served with Lane Carter on the council,
did.
right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He kind of snuck in.
I was coming in and here
Lane. How you been? Always
Good to see you, Lane.
It's good to see you.
I
again.
saw you earlier today at
Yeah.
the council meeting.
To experiment.
You know,
A little bit
We have a
of it.
meeting today.
We did. We had a little meeting today.
you know.
Any blood? No, any teeth?
Oh,
No
no,
blood, no
teeth on
they
the
had a
floor?
come to Jesus meeting with the planning commission.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good
Yeah.
discussion. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, come to Jesus. Yeah, I could hear it in there.
Blood.
I don't
You
really
were
know.
in there.
Yeah, I don't really know. Well, one of the things they did talk about, and this is something we can just talk about an issue in San Angelo, is that we have a housing shortage now.
We do.
And one of the problems that was brought up in that meeting was if you are looking for a one-bedroom apartment with less than 1,000 square feet, it's going to cost you $900. And they have this housing study they did, which I know when you were mayor you hated studies, but they did a housing study.
Well, I'm sure they did. We used to do studies to determine the studies that we studied. But being
Right.
from the north side of town, I agreed with the plan.
Right? So say they bought the land, they're going to develop it, and then they cordoned off, or they sold a chunk of it off to a apartment developer. And from what I understand, an apartment developer's plans called for some built structures to be 3 stories.
That's right.
Is that right?
I think so.
So what you had was you had a clash of people who are trying to be pro-development. There you have that. Then you have the people who want more housing, and then you had the people who lived there. Who said, "Not in my backyard." Right.
Well, and also they said, don't put that many people in my backyard.
Right.
And there's a formula that we use to determine how many people you can put in an area. And the formula was far exceeded even what planning said was that you could put in the neighborhood.
Well, I
And
know-
that's
I
the
know,
problem. That's the problem. If you've got room for a gallon of water and you're trying to cool 4 gallons in it, you're
Right.
putting too much, and that's what we did. That's too many people to put in that area.
Well,
So-
I know one of the major decisions that pushed it towards a 7-0 against for the planning department was
All right, 7-0. It was 7-0 to approve it.
It was
To-
took a super majority. Took
well,
6
a
votes.
7-0 for council, but a 7-0 to disapprove on the planning commission.
I think planning was 6.
All right, wait. Let's.
It was
All right, so
6-1.
planning
You're right,
commission
you're right.
did not approve it.
Planning
6-1.
commission said no. 6-1.
Right.
And then the
6-1.
developer appealed it to council because that's what the rules are.
Right.
And he goes to
So one of
council,
their-
and y'all
their
overrid,
major-
y'all
we-
ruled in favor of the developer, right?
We ruled ruled in favor.
I have to keep the facts going so that people
Erroneously.
understand the facts.
Erroneously.
Love this guy. Love this guy. But so it pushed it to us because it was a 6-1 denied. One of their major decisions to do that was because it was 3-story high-rise structures, and at first a few of them thought that it was. We have some results.
We have more results coming in.
Yes, from Mitchell County.
All right.
It was on the outskirts, going to be closer to the single-family residence.
So you're saying that
So-
Dwayne, you want to read these? Or you want me to read? Here you go.
No one out there had a problem with the houses. We know there's a housing shortage, and we don't mind the houses. That's fine. Have neighborhoods and houses. Houses are fine. We just didn't want that apartment. You know, this is the 7th one of these things that's in District 2 right now. This
There's
is
a
the
lot of
7th
undeveloped
public
land.
housing.
Right.
I mean, I think they need to take this public housing and share it with Santa Rita and Bentwood and the Country Club.
You tried to put that public housing
think
down
we
there.
need to-
We tried to put in Southland. Remember what happened?
Santa Rita's fighting us over a daycare center, but I think we need to take these public housing and share them with
I thought it was a
all of the
cheerleader. I thought it was a cheerleader gymnastic thing.
Unofficial results, Mitchell County.
Where's Mitchell County?
Ozona.
Ozona.
Mitchell,
That's not Ozona.
That's up. It's
Like just northwest of Sweetwater.
Would it be Colorado City?
Yeah, that goes into
Yeah,
Colorado.
I did say
Okay.
Ozona. That's Crockett.
Crockett, yeah. So this
Mitchell would be
Colorado City.
Colorado City.
Colorado City, yeah.
Trump is carrying it 94% of Mitchell County.
Don't go into Mitchell County with an Obama sticker.
Don't do it. Corning is carrying it 64%, and our own Pfluger is carrying it 57%. And
57.
that's not that middle,
That
that's
is.
getting closer. That's
So
at I-20. It's good
So he's
news.
getting that.
It's good
Well, he's getting 57%. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get him in there. You know, the big thing we ask is, can the San Angelo candidate for Congress make it without a runoff in a 10-man field?
As long as we can keep that kind of percentage going in those counties along I-20, and we can do
Yeah.
85% here.
Because all he needs is 50% plus one vote. That's all he needs. So this is August Pfluger, close to Midland, up there in Colorado City, pulling in at 57%.
wow.
That's good.
That is
That's
really
good.
good. Yeah. Where does San Angelo find people like August Pfluger?
I don't know. You know, his area runs all the way to, what is it?
Weatherford.
Yeah, Weatherford. I'm trying to think of that.
Granbury.
Granbury.
Hood
That's
County.
what I'm trying to-
All the way down to Lano.
It goes from
Yeah.
Lano.
Yeah.
We were in Granbury, and there's signs all over Granbury.
District 11
Yeah.
is it's an odd character.
And then we're talking about
Odd.
Congressional District 11, not
Right.
City District 11.
No. District 11, Joe.
You know, 11 councilmen. That's what I
You gonna
figured.
run for that next
Well,
year?
I figure, you
District
know,
11?
just like the liberals want to pack the court because we can't keep, Trump keeps appointing people to Trump, and they got the supermajority now of conservatives. They just want to add more people. If you don't like that Lakeview development, won't you just add more councilmen?
I just want my free medical and my free paycheck without working. What is it? Dale says is going to something
Free. Everything.
Free everything. Free education.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders is winning in the state of Texas. Look at that. 27.3. That's 3% of the state reporting Bernie Sanders.
0.03%.
0.03. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders. That's Austin, I'm sure.
Well, it could be
College
Austin.
Station.
Yeah, College Station. Listen to you. How could the Promised Land vote like that? There's no area there. It's like, I think it's precinct 1 over in Austin.
Raiderland doesn't vote like that.
All right, so now that you voted in this gigantic housing complex, you destroyed
Okay,
Lakeview.
so
What's going to happen
we
next?
clarified
That you destroyed Lakeview.
we did not destroy Lakeview. We
Just
clarified
put
the
a seventh public housing in Lakeview, though. You know, keep that in mind. 7. Santa Rita has 0.
But you know they are.
Bentwood has 0.
But the other argument I hear about the public housing is they have federal standards, and you can't build a meth lab in them.
Bring
You
Nick
know.
Hanna back in here. And
You say put them in District 5?
By the way,
They would
District
have to
5.
buy land from
Well,
ASU.
no, what we do in District 5.
Or 6.
Lane, you know what we do in District 5? We put big storage complexes
storage.
right there on the right there on the
Okay,
creek.
okay,
You know, the
okay.
scenic
Have you
storage.
seen the development?
Oh,
of that?
I'm
It's
sure.
beautiful.
Everyone I talk to is so mad about the storage in Santa Rita. Yeah, you storage units.
But
I mean, that's worse than
Have you
apartments.
seen the appeal of it?
Okay, whatever.
Austin limestone.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm just glad
About 3
that
stories tall.
they're not 3 stories tall.
I'm not gonna let that
It's a
down,
good,
are you?
it's a good thing I'm not on council anymore. I would still be fine.
Well, the good
He's
thing
gonna
is,
run for District
the good
11.
thing is people are interested in San Angelo, interested in building here, and we have a lot of opportunities that are coming out there, and you're going to have these kinds of give and take, and some people are going to win, some people are going to lose, but the good thing is we are in demand.
We're in demand. We have to supply for that demand, and we have to make it affordable.
So you really think we're going to get the so Lane Carter, if we reelect you, and you're for reelection in like what, 5 years,
3.5.
3.5 years, long time from now.
Going.
2023, right?
2023,
Right. You're right. I believe.
right,
I saw that in the file today.
right before
Is that
Trump
me? Yeah.
retires.
Right before
So I don't even remember what I was going to say.
2023. Yeah, May of 2023. This term is up.
Still running for 5?
So yeah, we're in 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got some way too early to call results out of Midland regarding
Midland?
CD11.
You better read those, Joe.
Midland. You never seen Friday Night Lights, Booby Miles? Midland. We're going to go to Midland. Early voting, 7:35. Republican primary across the district. Congress, District 11. August Pfluger, 300. What are the kind of these? These are like they're just giving us straight numbers. Anyway, August Pfluger has 327. This is across the district. This is all 29 counties in District 11. So far, what Midland Reporter News is saying, August Pfluger has 327 votes, and his next runner-up is Brandon Batch with 94 votes. That's more than 50% plus one, if he keeps on like that. Robert Tucker is with 6. Let's see. No one else has any votes. The other one that was well-financed was J. Ross Lacey. He's 13 votes.
Yep.
13 votes.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's
That's
early voting across the district from the Midland Reporter Telegram.
sounds good.
It sounds good for
That's
August
good.
Pfluger right
That's
now.
good.
Yeah. They don't have anything else. That's it.
That's it.
The lowest vote getter is Ned Luscombe in the CD11 race, the congressman race.
How many's he got?
2.
Two.
2 votes. So we have 10 people running for Congress here. August Pfluger leading, and obviously we're going to have thousands and thousands of votes.
Too early to call.
Way too early to call, but you know what? We're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Periscope.
How many is running in the Democratic primary? I
Just
know
one, John Mark
And
Hogg.
he's the only
That's
one
it.
that's running?
That's it. Well, they like they like to have dictators. Just no. It's kind of like the Sandinistas. No, I'm just kidding.
Just give me my free education.
Back to Bernie.
Medical.
So Lane, did you vote for Bernie? I mean, you're a millennial.
No.
You didn't vote for
I
Bernie?
think he's a Biden man.
No.
Biden man,
No.
definitely working class Biden man. Yeah.
Biden still thinks he's running for Senate.
Well, he might be.
No. I might be a millennial. I do not classify myself as a millennial.
Oh, come on.
No.
Snowflake.
Uh-uh.
Aren't you the guy
No,
that's always?
I know my date range.
Don't you have like a
falls me
fake?
into-
You have a fake Facebook account. You get on San Angelo Live and you just talk bad about me all day, don't you?
Oh.
Don't you? I know what you do.
Well, we can talk bad about it, but we got to take numbers. You got anything bad to say about Joe Hyde, you got to pull the number and get in line.
I created a fake Facebook page named Dwayne Morrison.
Oh, there you go. Well, you have to be really folksy. And you have to really think about what you're going to say there. I mean, this guy's got some quotes, man. He's got quotes.
No, I might be thrown into that age range, and what is it, 1978 till 2000 is a millennial?
Is that what a millennial is? I didn't even know. I just thought they were
87,
crybabies.
and I was sad. to
You're right in the
find out.
middle of it.
I was right in the middle of it. Dadgummit.
You're like the youngest of all millennials.
87.
I got socks on
Isn't that,
that.
no, you were elected to city council in '87, weren't you?
I ran for city council first in 85 or 86.
What was it that prompted you or motivated you to get into running?
Sign ordinance.
The sign
I
ordinance.
hate that sign ordinance.
You still hate it?
I still hate it.
So you
I
served as councilman for like 100 years, plus mayor for 2 terms, and you didn't do a damn thing about the sign
Yeah, I
ordinance.
did too.
What are you, Lane
I
Carter?
took most of the teeth out of it.
You did? Well, so what'd you do to it? Because I mean,
I took teeth out of it before they even voted on it. That thing, I hated that thing.
Hey, we have some folks asking for the sheriff results at this moment.
all right. The latest we have on the sheriff's race is on one of these pieces of paper. I think it's the typed one. They started out with our show typing things out, but Nick Hanna, Nick Hanna, is leading in the early voting, 3,777 votes to Muncie's. That's Keith Muncie's 1,803 votes. So it's looking like going to be a good night for Nick Hanna. Once again, Nick Hanna at 3,777 to Keith Muncie's 1,803. That's Tom Green County Sheriff. Anything else? That's all they asked?
Let's see. We had Kayla Reitlick ask, do you have the numbers on Dwayne Stovall? I don't think.
Who is Dwayne Stovall? I'm sorry, I'm a news guy. I can't remember his name. Dwayne Stovall.
Dwayne Stovall.
What is he? Ask her what is he running for?
I think that was in the Midland results with the CD11 with the way too early to call. I think he may have been involved in that whole thing.
I think Lane knows who it is.
No, Lane doesn't. Lane, who's the Stovall guy?
I don't know who's Stovall.
He's not on the ballot. Well, he's not on our results anywhere.
Democrat?
No, he can't be a Democrat. There aren't any Democrats running out here.
Joe, I'm a millennial. I can find it on my phone.
All right, so Lane Carter's going to find it while me and you tell jokes. Hey, you know what Tarzan said when he saw the elephants coming over the hill?
What's that?
He said, "Oh, here come the elephants over the hill." How's that? Great joke.
Oh,
I got a follow-up joke.
Classic.
You ready?
come on.
What did Tarzan say when he saw the elephants coming over the hill with sunglasses on?
I still can't figure that.
Oh, come on.
Can't do it.
Oh, come on. He didn't say anything. He didn't recognize them.
See him.
All right, so no one in here even laughed.
We also had somebody ask about the county commissioners precinct 1.
We're waiting on those results.
We'll get on that.
We're getting that. That should be coming in real quick. That's Kerry Houston running against incumbent Ralph Holscher. Have you ever heard my Ralph Holscher impersonation? No. Should I even do that?
You better not.
It's a great. You should just do it.
Just do it?
Just do it.
You want me to do it?
It's a great person.
All right, so
That's it.
everyone always asks Ralph. He's running against whoever. I've seen him run 3 campaigns. The guy is a genius, all right?
He is.
He's a genius. And they always ask him why he's wasting so much money, or why he can't cut taxes, or why are taxes going up. That's the general question that county commissioners get. And you know county commissioners can't do a damn thing about it, right? So he'll go, well, you know, I reckon we could, can't really do a whole lot because the state of Texas tells us what to do. You know, I could cut the library, but, you know, y'all don't want me to cut the library, and, you know, I can cut law enforcement. He always says law enforcement. I cut law enforcement, but y'all get mad at me for that. So not a whole lot I can do if you're a county commissioner, except, you know, hold on and work for the state of Texas. There you go.
You know, he was the motivating force behind the library. When
He was?
He was.
Yeah.
I remember we had several meetings.
He's like this.
He's a bulldog.
Well,
Once he gets
he's a
hold of
keel of the sailboat, keeping it going straight. Once he decides he's going to go, he's put the spinnaker up and go.
You never see him. You
Yeah.
never see him. I mean, he's not out, but he was the motivating force to get that
And that's
Stevens Library.
That's the
going.
Stevens Library downtown in the old Hemphill
It would
Wells
never, that
building.
old building was sitting there deteriorating.
Mhm.
Nothing would ever have happened had Ralph not got behind that.
Yeah.
No Stovall.
There's no Stovall.
Did not see a Stovall.
It must be in
Tom Green
Minnesota.
County.
It was not Tom Green County. It could be in somewhere other county. You know that.
Stovall's
Well.
in that CD11.
No, he's not. Well, he doesn't have any votes then, because in the Midland Reporter Telegram is not reporting any
That's
votes.
all I knew where to go is Tom Green County.
Your world, so small. Don't you know that we report news in
I've
Abilene?
never left the county, Joe.
He thinks the city is just District 5.
He's never left District 2.
We need
That
more.
has been said to me.
We need more results. You go tell Yantis needs to bring us more results.
I've got Tracy coming in here in a second.
All right, with what?
She's going to set up back here, so you just yell at her. She'll
Okay,
give you results.
we can get some results in. Well, while we're waiting, what's next for City Council? Anything? You have a vision? Is there a vision statement for the Lane Carter administration?
Carter administration. No, we're still focusing on of course, the economic development. You saw this in the council meeting today, going over the airport, how big of an asset
Yeah,
that is.
what we saw at the airport, Dwayne.
saw that.
Here's what we saw at the airport. They're about to start charging us for parking there. Yep, it was brought up. It was like the
Don't
trial
associate me
balloon.
that with
Trial
that.
balloon.
Don't
They said
associate
$3
that with me.
per car, and we can pave the parking lot.
Let's build some housing out there on those parking lots. 3 stories.
He's still mad about
He's
Lakeview.
still mad about it.
These Lakeview people, you get them mad about something, they just go
I have
off.
to go buy him a cookie next week.
We have some, yes.
A cookie as a peace offering.
Macadamia nut.
Macadamia nut. Okay.
Give me some results, Tracy. We need some results. People are restless. How many people got on right now?
We have 58.
All right.
No, take that back. 63.
I made your
63.
ratings go up, Joe.
There you go. Ever since Lane Carter got on, we've gone from 55 to 68.
We got to bring
Just me
the.
and you is 45.
Yeah.
The age average down.
Yeah, we're averaging
people
it
to
down,
watch.
and there's
Yeah.
more people, that kind of thing. More people your age.
Most people
What are
my
you
age are
laughing
already
at?
in bed.
You didn't know you were going to have to stay
Where
up
I
all
would
night.
be if I wasn't here.
Is there anything interesting happening?
It is 2 minutes till 8.
And we still don't have the election results in. What's up with this? Isn't this all done with computers?
I take my nap during Judge Judy.
She retired.
Can't be. Well,
She
that's
did.
Still running reruns.
She retired.
reruns out.
Have you reported on Callahan County yet?
We haven't reported on anything other than Tom Green and a little bit of Midland.
Cross Plains, I think. Isn't it?
50% of Callahan has reported, and Fluker is in the lead at 68%.
All right, so Pfluger is winning 68% in Callahan County. That's where the city
That's
of Clyde. That's Clyde, Cross Plains.
Cross Plains, I think
Yeah,
is
I think
Callahan.
you think you're right because it's Brown County.
Coleman and Callahan, Brown,
And the way I know, there was a crash on 206, and it was in Brown County just before the Callahan County line, right before
Callahan
Cross
is,
Plains. Yeah,
That's
68% for Pfluger in Callahan County.
great.
So that's
50% reporting.
with 15% of the 50%. Man, that's huge.
That's great.
He's going to win this thing with
I
50.
hope so.
It's going to a landslide in a 10-man field.
Well, he's a good candidate. He is a good candidate.
Well,
He's good
Harry.
for us.
how much interaction
now?
did how much? No, we'll get Harry in here. Harry Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Lane, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Let's bring
Hey,
Harry
Jack,
up here.
this one up.
We're
See you, brother.
we're gonna find out how Harry feels about Lakeview.
I want to talk to you about that multi-rise government housing, Harry.
Now you know the mayor's right now. Mayor Gunner's probably watching. He's going to run away.
I've got a few questions for her as well. Hello, lady.
This is-
Steve.
How you doing?
It's
Mr.
good to
Barson?
see you, brother.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is Harry Thomas. He is city councilman for precinct
3.
3. I
Actually,
can't.
serving as a mayor pro tem also, right? now,
Mayor,
so-
Mayor Pro Tem means that when Mayor Gunner's gone, then you're in charge and the city goes to hell.
Yeah.
Hey,
And in the middle, in the sandwich between us two, is Harry Thomas. He's city councilman from precinct
3.
3.
How long you been on?
Nearly 4 years.
4 years on council.
I thought he was more like 6. How long you been on, Lane?
Same.
Y'all start the same time? 2
Like-
months.
Because he was in a runoff.
Yeah.
You had to wait.
Not runoff.
You won it, didn't you?
I won it by 138 votes.
138 votes.
The first time I ran for council was back in the 80s, and I got beat by 112 votes.
Were you living in Lakeview at the
Yes,
time?
I was.
Okay, so same house and everything, same
So,
district.
we only had 3 government housing projects then, but now we have 7.
Well, Harry voted for the last
I
one.
saw that.
So let me talk
But
a little
our
bit about that.
our council member from Lakeview is the one that made the motion to approve.
That's right.
That's Tom Thompson.
Yes.
So thinking about this, you said it before. You said it often when you were mayor. We heard about a lot of these housing projects in a lot of different areas in San Angelo, not in my backyard. Well, I think when you're 43 plus 100 housing units short, sometime you're going to have to make a decision in somebody's backyard. And I think what you're going to see is there's going to be several more coming to fruition. You got one
In
right now-
Lakeview or?
Well,
Let's
not
put 'em in
necessarily
Lakeview.
Lakeview. You've got one in precinct 1 now that is probably about 18 months away from
And
being.
for our watchers here, where is precinct 1?
Well, precinct 1 is actually in the lake area. It's Tommy Hebert, but it comes all the way up to.
So Lake Nasworthy all the way up to Bentonwood?
I remember
to Southwood.
when someone proposed one out there by Sam's. back when I was mayor.
That's correct.
We were all running for our lives.
See, that was when Charlotte was in that
Charlotte.
particular area.
Well, that was 6.
Yes.
Charlotte 6. It was right on the border.
And that's Charlotte Farmer, who was a former city councilwoman.
Because we had a big meeting out there at
Right.
So there's
Real Concho.
Yeah. So there's one on South Chadburn at the corner of South Chadburn and Cristobal Road. Now
that's in-
that's kind of just almost out of Tommy's area, but it's right there near Goodfellow. And so this
Is
new
that public house? I saw that today.
But that is
They broke
actually,
ground.
actually it's not Section 8, but it will be affordable housing for the Goodfellow students because they anticipate that Goodfellow is actually going to grow some over the next six months to 12 months area. So that's one. We're getting ready to take a look at another one off of Irem and another one off of over in my district along the river as it comes back around by the Lone Wolf Bridge over in that area.
So what we're talking about is low-income apartment housing that's coming in,
No, you're
or
talking-
subsidized.
Well, you're talking about tax credits, so it's not low income, it's affordable housing, so there's a difference. It's not Section 8.
So if I get tax credits to build my big apartment building, do I have to charge $900 for one bedroom apartment?
You can charge based on what your investment is and how much money you get back from tax credits through the federal government. That actually comes through the state.
Or do they regulate the rent, or how do they make it affordable?
Well, they make it affordable because they're getting some tax credits back to build the housing, and so the housing, instead of being a $3 million project, maybe it's only 2.5 or 2.7, whatever that number is, and I'm not sure that I know it. But I mean, so that reduces the total amount that they're investing in there, which allows them then to charge a rate that's less than the going rate percentage.
But what forces them to charge a lesser rate, or is it just increasing the supply? You're incentivizing people, or incentivizing multifamily dwelling things to increase supply, right? So that will drive down pricing. It's not necessarily they're forced to.
Well, right, they're not forced to do it, and
Keep asking questions, Joe. I'm bringing you over.
Or you bring me over to the
Bringing you
Lakeview.
over to my side.
You know that's going to be a beautiful. We're going to call it Lakeview Towers. In fact, we'll put your rattlesnake hat on top.
You know, and just for clarification, I'm not opposed to the houses out there.
Yeah.
I'm not even opposed to maybe a one-story public housing, but when the planning department says you can have X amount of people in this area, that's all we can handle, and you go over that limit, that's what I'm opposed to.
But I think
Too many
somebody is
people
giving
in that
you
small
information
area.
that's not quite accurate because that particular area that they're going to put the housing in really can have more people in there, and that particular developer chose not to put that many people in so that it would allow the residents in that area not to have so much congestion. Now, there's some things I think the city's going to have to do. We're going to have to look at access to 40th Street. There may have to be some stop signs up in that particular area. We're going to have to look at how we,
Dwayne, do they even follow the directions of a stop sign in Lakeview? Is it going to help?
Some of our cars now have blinkers.
They have blinkers.
Some of them,
All right.
not everyone uses them.
And if you're not from San Angelo, not familiar with, there is this Lakeview South Side kind of thing, but usually it's the Lakeview people getting more upset. If I mention the Lakeview score and then they didn't win the game, I am bashing them.
You know, it's like that old joke. Lakeview 0, US 87.
There you go. Lakeview 0,
I've
US
heard that all
87.
my life.
But Lakeview's on the north side of San Angelo, and what's the history behind Lakeview? It was its own town.
Oh yes, we were on community. It was a farming community. I think I graduated from Lakeview High School, Lakeview Independent School District in '68, and in '69 we became part of SAISD.
Right.
But we were our own individuals out there.
Right. And that's the second high school we have in SAISD. We have San Angelo Central. We have Lakeview. And
Lakeview was the first subdevelopment in San Angelo.
Okay. And when San Angelo annexed Lakeview, it was all Caliche roads, wasn't it? When you were growing up.
A lot of them, yes.
And so
Alan Gilbert was the city councilman. He was responsible for a lot of the things happening.
oh my goodness, we have CD11, Tom Green County, CD11. Here's our results. And we asked the question in one of our stories, can August Pfluger win CD11 in a 10-man field for congressman without a runoff. He needed 50% of the vote plus one in a 10-man or 10. Or he has 9 opponents. Early voting results in CD11. I guess this is all the early voting in. August Pfluger with 84.95% of the vote. That's better than what happened with you.
That is unbelievable.
Did you ever get 85%?
No.
You were lucky to get 60. Well, you got 60 a lot of times. And that was a
I was
landslide.
tickled with 60.
Yeah. 84.95%. 4,793 votes.
That's early voting throughout the entire district.
No, that's in Tom Green County.
Tom Green County.
Oh,
It's Tom
We
Green
still
County.
we still
I
have
thought you
Midland
said
County
No,
and
district
no.
Brown
wide.
and Callahan and.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're staying where we were.
Yeah,
Where we
we're
wanted to go.
57% and that kind of thing. But here in this Tom Green County, we have 4,793 votes and 84.95% of the vote for August Pfluger. Number 2 is just who I predicted, but I didn't. Brandon Batch, 315. And then Wesley Verdell, I believe he's the guy from Brady, isn't that where he is? He had 140 votes. And then J. Ross Lacey with 84. And then J.D. Faircloth with 88. They didn't even put the rest of them in
Expected
there.
more out of Lacey than that.
I did too. I thought Lacey and Batch would be right there, real close. But of course, Wesley Verdell is closer here, closer to St. Angelo. A lot of more people know him. He's, he's done a good job of campaigning so far, but not nearly as good as this August Pfluger guy. I mean, where did he come from? August Pfluger with 85% of the vote.
He was a Central High quarterback before he went into the Air Force Academy.
Was he really?
Yes, sir.
Did they win?
Well, I'm
Wait,
not
let's-
sure what they did.
Where's Manny Diaz?
Manny
Manny
can
can tell us what did August Pfluger really play football for Central?
Man, I'd have to go back to the archives.
You can't remember. It's before your time.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
But he played quarterback for St. Angelo Central and then went to the Air Force Academy and spent 4 years there and then became a fighter pilot for the Air Force. And has spent a pretty good amount of career in different places in around the world.
But that's when we were watching Manny.
No, that was before that. Manny was still in the crib.
86. That's when I was born.
You was
You're-
born in '86.
He's a millennial too.
Glasscock County, 20% of the precincts are reporting.
All right, Glasscock County is, what town's in there? Garden City?
Garden City.
Okay.
August Pfluger's ahead 86%.
86% and that's Garden
That's
City.
getting close to me.
That is like on 158, right on,
Yes.
that's right there next to
Yes.
Midland. 86%. My goodness, my goodness.
And Trump took 99%.
So basically Pfluger's underperforming Trump.
How many votes did Bernie Sanders get?
Yeah, you asked a hard question. We can't find any Bernie Sanders votes in West Texas.
Hey Joe, if you'd like to remind folks, this hour is presented by Dry Clean Super Center.
The Dry Clean Super Center up there on Sherwood Way, if you ever been there, that's where I take my clothes and see how nice and pressed my coat is. I barely ever wear it, but when I do wear it, I have to take it up there to get dry clean. Dry Clean Super Center on Sherwood Way, down there by, I guess it's by Sunset? Is that
the one by
Sunset or Southwest?
Sherwood Way? Yeah.
Or is this, no, not Southland. You guys don't even know where Dry Clean Super Center is, don't you? You know, John Vasquez doesn't take his clothes.
Across from the Lithia dealership.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
across from Dodge.
One next Tractor Supply.
Yeah, Tractor Supply is right next door, yeah.
know. Everybody knows where tractor.
And it's real fast to get in and out. I mean, you drive up in, and of course my truck opens their automatic doors because their sensors still pointing out there and the things. So I don't even have to wait for the doors to open. Just walk in there and just dump all my clothes on the counter and leave. Dry Clean Super Center is sponsoring this half hour. We really appreciate it. Next, you want to take a little bit of break and you put the sign up and say we'll be right back, because Dwayne and I, we need to go get fuel.
Yeah, you guys just step off.
All right, we're going to step off the set. You know, Harry, we would leave you here, but he is the pro tem. We just call you the San Angelo Live pro tem.
All kinds of meetings.
We'll be back.
And so coming from Plains, I didn't know my way around anywhere.
Right.
But I knew if I went to San Angelo, I could turn right there and get to the school. So, that's...
You wouldn't get lost.
Yes, so my decision-making process has improved.
Right.
But really, it didn't start off the best.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? I think it worked out pretty well.
All right, before I started covering the news, I had no idea how large the law enforcement community was in this county. And I think the time where it just finally hit me was back in 2013, 2014. There was a guy his name was Gabe. I can't remember the last name, but he holed up on his ranch. He shot his mom, shot his mom's attorney, and I was at the blockade. They wouldn't let us down to get to the ranch. But I was sitting there covering the stories at the blockade, and this is back when it was very, very competitive. You had the Standard Times there, you had all the TV stations there, but we were at March Road and Grape Creek Road. And I was sitting there waiting for information to come from the scene, and I mean, I've never seen so many unmarked law enforcement cars go through that gate. And I was thinking to myself, those cars are all over the roads here. How many, you kind of explained the law enforcement infrastructure of Tom Green County.
Well, I would just start with your city police, and they're
Right.
responsible for calls within inside the city. Mm-hmm. However, it's not uncommon for them in an event where life is threatened. Mm-hmm. We're going to work together. So they probably responded out there to back us up. The sheriff's office, they have their marked patrol units, and they have their unmarked guys in their criminal investigation division. Mm-hmm. So they'll also respond. And then, of course, we have the state police, and we have not only the black and white cars usually respond, but we have folks in the criminal investigation division of the DPS. They'll respond. Rangers, as I was at the time, mm-hmm. will respond in unmarked units. Then you have the federal agencies, HSI and the FBI. And so those guys will come out, and it's really all hands on deck in mm-hmm. a situation like that. Everybody wants to help. Nobody wants to get anybody hurt. And like you said, I've had a number of those experiences. And what you build is a network of contacts that you can reach out to and pull in help and be a force multiplier. Knowing your assets and what's available is a crucial part of being a leader of an office like the sheriff's office, because none of us are as good as no one of us are as good as all of us. And so when we utilize all our resources and all the taxpayer assets and monies, then we can successfully resolve issues where life is in jeopardy.
Right. And also, I guess you could, for example, we've used Abilene SWAT team. The bomb disposal unit. We used Abilene's bomb disposal unit before, and a couple of things. So you have like your cross city lines kind of thing.
Right. And a lot of it is how quick can we respond. DPS mm-hmm. has their bomb techs. We have some. Goodfellow has helped us before in the past. Mm-hmm. The same with folks up in Abilene. So knowing what you have is a big key into solving the problems that we can expect. And society is changing. We've got these mass casualty events. We've got these incidents at churches. And so I just spent 8 days not very long ago in Midland, Odessa, helping with that scene, with the active shooter, the dynamic active mm-hmm. shooter in that situation. And so the experience, the boots on the ground perspective, we're plugging those kind of things in right now, and working with the administration of the police department, our DA's office, the DPS. So we're working to be prepared, as prepared as you can be for something like that. And those things are going to be event driven. So you can't prepare for every eventuality. To
give the reader or give the watcher, the viewer here, a little bit better idea of how law enforcement works in these large operations. One that I recall is one of the first stories I wrote, and I was a very minor part of it. I wasn't, reporting day to day, but the FLDS
sure.
situation in Schleicher County,
yes.
El Dorado, Texas, and I'll just summarize it. People you ever seen since he's been out of office, because he's unleashed.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
I'm not looking for votes anymore.
No votes, so you're going to be
votes.
totally politically incorrect and just tell it like it is and be real.
Absolutely.
And in between, in our sandwich,
Yeah.
is Tom Green County Judge Steve Floyd.
Yes, and that's the main reason I'm down here, because I saw the first part of this, and I was going to see what was going to happen to me in about 3 years from now.
Well, you're looking at Dwayne thinking you're going to get that old?
Well, I may get that grouchy and that opinionated, I'm not for sure, but...
Well, we have a beef to pick with the county. What's up with the election results? They're not coming in. I mean, Callahan County's beating us.
Well, yeah,
They have 4 votes.
Yeah, I was fixing to say they've already counted. Well, I just left the Keys building because obviously I'm concerned about the election results, but I'm more concerned about the $1.5 million that we invested in the new voting equipment, and the first box just arrived there 15 minutes ago.
And then you use it
And
because
at
of
that
lines?
time-
Because of lines at the end of the voting day, you
Well,
think?
I'm assuming that's correct because they still showed 5 still active, meaning they're trying to get through the queue. But
When you say they're active, it means people are still actively voting right now?
they have not. Briefing about the virus.
You
this
mean the
afternoon.
coronavirus?
Yes.
Not the election day Russian
No,
virus in
yeah,
our
the
election.
coronavirus,
The
yeah,
coronavirus.
and it's a very robust, obviously preparation to prepare. But I drove by TxDOT, and there was people all over the place. And I voted at the transit district at about 1:30 today, and it took me about 5 minutes. So I think that's what people's got to figure out. There are certain polling places that you can just walk in and out.
Right.
Now you can't go in at 6:50.
Now, y'all changed the county changed the way the county elections office conducts elections. And they went to kind of like with statewide, you see counties all go into the voting centers, as opposed to like it used to be if I lived in Christoval, I had to go to the Christoval Community Center to vote.
That is,
and I
you
and I
have to
could
go
not,
to your box,
right.
wherever it was. And actually,
But now you can vote anywhere.
We copied, Lubbock County was the first one that basically pioneered this. And I think we were at the same time we went to vote centers, I think one other county, and it may have been Bell, went to this program. And what was funny, we thought that it probably would increase voter turnout because of the convenience. And it hasn't showed that, but the bottom line is people can go to any of the 19, they probably drove by 3 of them today. But again, we still have the same voting sites that continue to be extremely busy and are busy
Right.
in their homes.
I think the elections is not about convenience, it's about who the headliner is.
Sure.
For example,
Oh, I've said
I
that.
mean, 2016, March 1st, 2016, Trump versus Cruz. That was your headlining kind of thing. I mean, remember that? I mean, it was crazy.
Candidates drive the election
Right.
results. And I looked in one year as a commissioner, and it may have been 2009, something such as that. And we'd gone through the budget hearings, and we walked out, and Ms. Vonna had said something about, you act like you're frustrated with it. And I said, well, my frustration is you look at the
And
budget.
Ms. Vonna is the election supervisor.
Elections administrator.
Administrator,
Yes,
okay.
there's 6 of us that appoint her.
Right.
But I said my frustration is that I looked at the total number of votes that were cast last year, and it cost the taxpayer $34 a vote
Is that right?
to get those things in. Of course, it was one of those off years that there was not really anything.
A whole lot of
On
stuff.
the constitutional ballots, it was a very low turnout. Other years, obviously, that comes way down. But anyway, it's we have tried to make it as easy to vote as we can. My frustration is used to when it was the old polling places. If you'd move that location 2 blocks, boy, you'd catch it. And I wanted to tell them, I said, listen, you'll drive completely across town for a Chick-fil-A sandwich a couple of times a week, but you complain about having to drive 2 blocks to vote, every 2 years. But it is frustrating, but I fully agree. I think we've done everything we can to make it as convenient as we can. And I fully agree with you. Issues and candidates is what drive what's going
Well,
on.
what's driving statewide voting is Bernie Sanders. And of course, you know that Mayor Dwayne Morrison voted for Bernie Sanders.
Certainly a Bernie
Just
man.
once?
I want my free education and my free Medicare.
Well, we have to have one person represent the Bernie people, the Bern. But he's
I'm
winning.
glad it's him because it's not.
Well, he's winning. He's 27.3% with 42,727. And you kind of see where he's winning on this map. And of course, Manny can't put this map up there, but Maverick County, dark blue, and that's the Eagle Pass. Dark blue county, Fort Worth and Dallas County. Tarrant County. No, that's
Tarrant
not.
County is going for?
Well, Dallas. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's north of Dallas.
Okay.
Those two, like Collin County and where Lewis is that Denton?
That's up in Jerry Jones.
My goodness. And then Houston, north of Houston, is going blue. The suburbs are going blue. That's the strangest thing. But
Well, I've got a feeling on those, the burners got there early and make sure they voted. We'll see how that
either that or they stuffed the ballot box.
Oh, yeah. They have trouble stuffing ours, but anyway, they may do that in some areas.
Look at that. Donald Trump is getting 94.3% of the Republican vote right now, statewide. And if you look at that, Donald Trump has 333,000 votes. Bernie only has 42,725. So there is still a God.
Yeah, there is.
Well, and you see those blue dots, and obviously if you watched the election 2 years ago, you can start seeing that happen. We saw
You're
it,
talking about the suburbs turning purple?
well, and yes, surrounding the major cities.
Right.
And just like the third Court of Appeals race that we lost all
Right.
4 of the Republicans.
So we had basically the third court of appeals is the court that generally hears what our district courts, if someone appeals, you'll go to the third court of appeal.
Yes, and they
it's-
are the final judgment on 95% of the cases, because only about 5% of them get on.
Yeah, get past to that. But the interesting thing that happened, this is during the November 2018, where Beto O'Rourke was killing it and coming here all the time. And you know, I never saw you at a Beto rally. No? I had to go to a couple. They were actually kind of interesting. But Beto was killing it. He was the vehicle that drove it, and they flipped the third court from Republican control to Democrat control. I think all we have left is the Chief Justice, Rose.
But if you,
Yeah.
yes, and he's up this time.
Yeah.
Melissa Goodwin.
Melissa Goodwin. We have two Republicans left.
But
Two
if,
Republicans left, she's on the ballot 2022.
Okay.
if you looked at the numbers in that, of course, Travis County and Hayes County is two of the 23 that come up through us. And if Hayes County would have stayed the same, there was not if they had gotten 100% of the votes of the other 21 counties in that district, it would not been enough to overcome Travis County. So you've heard Representative Darby talk about the battle is becoming urban versus rural. That's about as graphic a demonstration as I can see of that. You can track the early voting totals, and you can look at Tom Green, Midland, Ector, roughly 20% Democrat. You can look at Travis County; it's roughly 20% Republican.
Right.
Early voters.
And
So
that's where the
it
population
is-
centers are.
Yes, and then you know Houston, Dallas area. So
Well,
yeah,
what's
it's
going
changing.
what's going to happen with our counties out here, because you rely so much on the state government? Okay, August Pfluger's here. August Pfluger is here. We're about to have an exclusive with August Pfluger.
Oh, I'll get out of the way.
We're going to kick the
I'm
judge
a
out.
has-been. My name's not going to be on the ballot anymore. So
You're
I'm just
retiring?
here- Yes.
I didn't know that.
finishing-
We didn't
finishing
wait.
up
This is
term.
you're done.
I'm going to finish up this term.
And when's your term
Lord
up?
willing,
2022 or 2020? Well, who's running in your place?
sorry, 2022. You're right.
2022? Are you sure? Who's going to replace you?
Well, I don't know. You can file. Dwayne can file. Whoever.
Dwayne?
I have not.
Dwayne,
I'm not about
the only way you're going to stop those developments in Lakeview is to run for county judge.
No, just like Holzer said, we just do what, and you can do your impression again, we just do what the state.
By the way, we have early
Well,
voting. So he's killing
Can
it.
I make a pitch if Dwayne wants to
All right.
file? The county does not have any trash contracts, and it doesn't have a planning
What would
commission.
I do?
We didn't even bring up the trash contracts. I've been so
It's
nice.
not near as much fun as the city is, but.
You know, if the county would just get into the trash business, I was hoping.
Well,
I was
thank you.
hoping.
Maybe my
I kept-
successor will consider that, but I'm not going to bring it up before the court.
No, I wouldn't do it either. We fought it in 203 and we fought it in 213. I was
Well,
involved in it.
Dwayne, what was the deal with the trash contract? What was the real reason why you had to get this train? What was the real
Did you
reason?
not say candidate Pfluger was here?
He is. We better get
I'm
Kluger
gonna-
in here.
If you're going to
All
get
right.
to talking trash, I'm going to turn my seat over again.
Do we have him in here yet? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joe Hyde with San Angelo Live. In the middle here is Tom Green County Judge Steve Floyd, and then former Mayor Dwayne Morrison. We're here analyzing the Super Tuesday evening, talking politics, local, having some good bull.
It's been
And right now we have
That's our hero right there.
we have the fighter pilot himself. I'm sorry, the support pilot, August Pfluger. He's came by our studio. So, I mean, you're out, Judge. We got this 85%er here.
I'll be glad. I'll be glad. Come on in here.
Oh, me. You're going to be like a celebrity. This is your first interview.
That's right,
Right.
it is.
How are you, sir? Good to see you as well.
How are you? I'm going to go back down and make sure all of our voting equipment got back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about.
You don't want John McHarg to stuff the ballot box, you know. But anyway, we have here August Pfluger in between me and Dwayne Morrison. Dwayne, of course, is the former mayor of San Angelo. I'm the publisher of San Angelo Live. August, 85% of Tom Green County so far, from what we've seen, is saying they love you. They voted yes.
Well, a lot of votes still to be counted.
Uh-huh.
So we're cautious.
You're
enough
beaming.
optimistic.
You're actually beaming. Look at you. You're actually beaming. Look at this. So what is it?
You're doing well on all of the reports that we have got in from all of the counties. We've got a few counties.
good reporting.
You've done very, very well.
And
You should.
And the interesting thing about this thing is a field of 10 candidates. I mean, a field of 10 candidates. And you had some experience in it. You're like J. Ross Lacey, experienced politician. You had Brandon Batch. He's not really, hasn't run for office, but he's experienced the ways of Washington. Yeah, yeah, the football thing and all that. All right, so Manny Diaz could not back this up because, you know, we were starting to talk about it. Harry Thomas was telling us this, right? Were you the quarterback for San Angelo Central?
I was.
You were? What year was that?
Would have been 95.
95. Do you don't remember? Well, you're
I don't
too.
remember. I'm from the other side.
Lakeview
I'm from the
Stadium.
wrong side
He
of
never
the
played in
track.
Lakeview Stadium.
I wasn't near as good as Sterling Gilbert. So
That was about the same time.
he was a year after me, and he was an amazing quarterback. Is an amazing coach.
Right.
He did some.
And where is Sterling now? Did he go to Oklahoma?
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse.
Okay.
He's offensive coordinator, I think.
And he was at Texas for a while. Is that right?
Texas, and he made a couple other.
Went to Florida and McNeese
He
or
was a
something.
head coach
Right.
there, so he's had a great career. So
Right.
when we talk about quarterbacks in San Angelo, we need to start with Sterling Gilbert.
Let's see, the quarterback from San Francisco, I think, was one of his protégés.
That's right.
I don't remember his name. They got beat, I remember that. But
Yeah, Garoppolo's.
got
Wow.
beat by a tech guy.
1995. And so, did you get a scholarship to the academy, the Air Force Academy?
You know, everybody gets the appointment there. So
Right.
I played some athletics, but decided to focus
Intramural?
on other things.
Oh yeah.
On,
And you
on
studied-
flying airplanes.
Did you take like at the academy? Did you learn how to soar?
I sure did.
Right.
Yeah,
So that, you know,
soaring
I was an instructor pilot in undergraduate pilot training for the Air Force, and the best students we had, absolutely the best students we had for flying, were the ones that learned how to soar at the academy. And the reason was because you understood when you're soaring, you don't have an engine, and so you had to complete your mission or wear your profile they gave you to fly. You had to preserve your energy. It means you can't be pulling on the yoke and bleeding off
you're
energy.
in a glider, so you have to.
Yeah. So they learned how.
Thought ahead.
Yeah, actually, they thought ahead of the airplane more, and they were able to. Those guys were always at the top of the class. The rest of them got tankers, right? But the ones that didn't go to soaring class. But all right. So, what got into you? I mean, all right. You see all these people they talk. You know, they always like to talk trash online, right? Especially me. They talk about me. Trash, but they're talking trash about you because you know you're successful. It's fun to talk trash about people. But what got into you to jump into the Air Force Reserves, quit what you're doing at the NFC, and run for Congress? What was the real reason why you wanted to do that?
The real reason is this district is incredibly important.
Okay, and you had the opportunity,
and,
right?
And you know, I don't think anybody understood that Mike Conaway was going to announce his retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and when he did at that specific time, and so. For us, we thought that it was a path that had been laid out where we had a connection to agriculture, a connection to oil and gas, and a connection to.
You're saying like your family connection with
My
that?
wife and I.
Your wife and I,
yes,
okay.
And understanding what it means to be in agriculture, to grow up with those values, what it means to have the largest secure supply of oil and gas in the world that sits right here, you know, most of it in this district, and to have Goodfield Air Force Base. And so to represent that district and to have had the experiences growing up.
What was it
that's
that got to that? I mean, obviously you've been thinking about being in politics probably your entire life. Because I mean, I know I think about it too sometimes. And I just ended up being a news guy, but I think about it sometimes. You know, what could have been? Well, you know, could I run for this? I mean, he was just talking about county judge. Should I run for county judge? Wouldn't that be funny? I mean, No, they'd vote me down, man. I am so unpopular. My polling.
Judge Floyd is pretty popular here. So.
Well, he's retiring. He's retiring.
Well, he's done a good job.
He's done a good job. Don't get ahead of yourself, Joe. Is what you're saying.
I'm not going to say that.
But what is that? What is it that pulls on your heartstrings to want to do this public service in a very public way? I mean, you put
Well, I mean, just like you and others here in this community that have served, I mean, we have this part of Texas specifically has a really good legacy of service. And I think what we have seen, not just enemies outside of these borders, but seeing where our country is going, my wife and I felt very passionate about serving in this district.
And trying to argue back or push back on a lot of the things like, for example, Bernie Sanders is winning Texas with 27% of the vote.
Menard County, 100% reporting. August Fluger, 64%.
All right.
Well, that's Menard County, that's Menard, Texas, home of BR 143. Ever flown that low-level route?
I have. I sure have. Well,
64% of the vote. They must have heard. They must not know that you were making all that jet noise all those years.
well, and I think at this point it'd be appropriate to say that they just lost their county judge.
Did they?
Yeah, Judge Richard Cortez, who is an amazing man, veterinarian, and a really outstanding judge. And so our heart goes out to them for that loss.
And what do you think that Midland's going to end up being?
It's hard to tell. They had good turnout today. We're seeing good early numbers, but I think in general what we're seeing right now is that people want a strong leader, somebody who has the credibility, but also.
But we want to know about the process and the numbers. We don't care about the strong leader stuff.
Glasscock was.
Glasscock County, 95%. Garden City was going 95% Fluger. We all feel pretty proud for you.
Yeah.
Hey, can you pull up Midland? What's Midland County looking like?
Midland only 2%.
2% showing in Midland.
2% reporting. Fluger's in the lead with 44%.
So he's leading in Midland.
44%. He doesn't have. We need the 50% plus one for our San Angelo boy August Fluger to get into Congress without a runoff. How much is a runoff going to cost?
Well, I think it probably costs whatever you can raise.
Well, you've raised a lot. Are you going to spend all of it?
But here's the deal: is that what it costs is 50 plus 1%. So, and I think that's what makes our campaign so unique is that we have an incredible grassroots ground game, just like in Glasscock County, where we have met with the cotton farmers and understand what they need. And
Right.
They
feel like you got their back. You feel like you got your
exactly
back.
right.
Yeah.
And accessible to them, just like Midland and Hood and everywhere in between.
Right. What's Hood County looking like right now? The Hood County, of course, is Granbury. That's the other side of the district. So San Angelo's in the middle. You have Midland, Odessa on the west side. You got Hood County on the other side. And I'm pointing these directions for people at home. So I'm,
For the
reverse.
east-west,
Reverse. I'm
that's
doing
right.
reverse east-west.
It would have been a lot faster.
But it's kind of raining out. Is it raining out?
It is raining, but we also pay attention to the campaign laws as well. So.
You can't have a plane?
No, the rules
Well,
are
John
pretty
Glenn rode around Ohio in a
tight. The
plane.
rules are pretty tight.
Are they
You-
really?
You can have a plane, but it's.
And
yeah.
Rick Perry
But I'll
did
tell you,
the plane.
We're at about 39,000 miles on our vehicles
My
throughout
goodness.
this campaign process, and I think that shows you the ground game that we're.
Is it a truck?
It's a truck.
Is it a truck or a BMW?
It's a truck.
Truck, okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to ask you what brand. I'm
It's
scared.
It's a Ford truck.
A Ford
It's
truck?
F-150.
Really? Jim Bass Ford?
No, it's not my father-in-law.
Okay. We had to drop in. Manny, is he still here? Who is sponsoring this hour?
This one is, we're about to change it over to Deersky and Deersky.
So right now it's Deersky and Deersky?
Yes.
Deersky and Deersky Realtors. Of course, they're good wall people. And
Farm Bureau leaders.
yeah.
Spell this Deersky, S-O-L-D.
Sold.
Sold.
Diersky and Diersky.
Deersky and
We
Deersky.
thank Diersky and Diersky for financing this gigantic undertaking we've done. Well, you know we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and this thing called Periscope that goes to Twitter and on San Angelo Live.
Very good.
All
And the
once.
last count we had 60 people.
60 people watching.
Well, maybe it'll grow.
But anyway, you need to get back to the Cactus Hotel.
Well,
You got a big party?
We've got a few things to take care of, but I think the most important thing is to say thanks to everyone in the district, but also to San Angelo. The turnout was amazing. We are incredibly honored to have everybody go out and vote today. I think this may be one of the higher turnouts that we've ever had today.
It might have been.
And it really is a team effort. And I think what people see is they see hope for this country. We want to be a part of that hope.
Right.
We want to go to Washington to fight for the things that President Trump is fighting for,
Right.
in addition to what this district right here needs.
I like your commercials.
Well, thank you.
Very, very
We're-
well
we're-
thought. I like the way you end them.
How does he end them?
Pretty good.
Manny, do we have any August Pfluger commercials?
Don't think we do.
How do you end them? I paid for this commercial. I'm August Pfluger.
Approved by August. Well, thank y'all for letting me come on tonight.
Well, thank you.
It's been a real pleasure,
Yeah,
sir.
it has. And y'all have a great celebration down there in downtown San Angelo tonight. And man, you earned it. You really well-run campaign.
I think the community earned it. This district earned it.
Hi, Brenda.
How are you?
And this is the current mayor, Brenda Gunner. Have a seat.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
seat. Okay, so I didn't mean to do this, but I came here and Dwayne is, he's riling things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's what Dwayne does, and he's with me, and unfortunately you're in the middle.
Well, I like being in the middle, I guess, of two men. I'm not sure about that.
We're
but-
troublemakers. We're both troublemakers.
Well, let's just say the following, that
we're all full of opinions.
Yeah.
And
And it's nice to not be looking for votes. I can state my opinion.
it feels really good,
It
doesn't
really
it?
does.
It's hard when you're always
Yeah.
trying to figure out how
You
to
can't do
say
it.
it.
You can't do it. You got to
and,
walk a line when
yeah.
you're.
But Mayor Gunner, let's talk about what just happened
Sure.
here. We got history being made right now in San
We
Angelo,
do.
Texas. You know, the last time we had a congressman from San Angelo, I believe, was O.C. Fisher,
Correct.
1975, 1974.
52 or 53.
Yeah, it was back in the 50s.
No, he started in the 40s and he served until the 70s.
74.
74?
He served until 70.
Yeah. And then they named
But
the
he was
reservoir.
elected in the 50s.
Yeah,
So
40s.
that's where our number
48.
comes from.
Wasn't it 48? Help me. It was the
52 or
50s?
53.
All right, we got Del Velasquez fact checking what we're saying. But anyway, regardless,
Yes,
O.C.
sir.
Fisher, they named a stinking lake after the guy,
Correct.
right?
We did.
So we're going to have an August Pfluger Lake now with this 85% of the vote.
Well, let's just say the following, whatever it takes to get fair representation for San Angelo, I think that's what we want.
Yeah, I think it's great we have a congressman from San Angelo. It's really putting us up in the catbird seat for a lot of good things. And, we sit there and we argue a little bit about housing and things like that. But the good thing is people are demanding land here. They want to build here. They want to move here.
They
We
do.
just keep it going. And we got a congressman from here.
I think it's interesting to see how this race has fallen out because of the number of people who entered the race. So many people wanted that position.
Yeah, 10 people. 10 people.
I mean, it's a big number. And I believe they probably did because Mike Conaway did such a terrific job, and I think he represented everyone so well. When Mike Conaway was in this city, you felt like he was from this city. You never sensed that he had anything but the best of what San Angelo needs in his heart.
Right.
And so when you see somebody who represents you really well, I think it makes other people think that they can do that too. But Mike had a heart of gold, great congressman, and we'll miss him. But it's good to see somebody else stepping up that I think will do the right thing. Just
He has the
like Conaway.
potential. He has the
does.
potential.
He does.
We won't say the kinetic energy yet, just the potential.
He'll get there though.
Yeah, I think so.
Time.
You can tell by the campaign.
And we
I'm
may
gonna
and we
run
may
for-
not
and
win.
We may not win.
Yeah.
And so you have to go into it with 200% commitment
Right.
because you just gave up a lot.
Right,
You made your family give up a lot.
right. And he won
And he won.
the
He'll do
win.
well.
He will do
He'll
well.
be a good congressman.
But he got almost 50% of the vote in Midland. I mean, that's.
Yeah, what'd you say? 45%?
44.95
Hey, Tracy.
or something.
Tracy, you
like
got any
that.
good facts we can talk about over there?
It'll update here in 30 seconds.
All right, we got a 30-second update.
Well, it tells you that he knew what to say and how to campaign in Midland because Midland doesn't give up the votes easily to San Angelo. So he obviously had a great ability to study and to present himself in a way that Midland people would say, hey, you know what? We traditionally wouldn't vote for somebody from San Angelo, but we're going to do this. We believe in Pfluger. And it didn't hurt that he had a brother living there.
No, Carl Pfluger is his brother.
Yeah.
And he, of course, Carl was building pipelines and doing crazy. He was very involved in the business community there, successfully too.
Correct.
So, well, the other thing I was going to bring up here, Mayor Gunner, is Bernie Sanders is leading the state of Texas, and Dwayne is really going through depression about this. And I wonder if you can give him some counseling on why Bernie Sanders is at 27.4%.
Where's Biden right now?
Biden's at 23.5.
Well, last we had.
No, these are update
He's
right here.
25.
Okay.
Yeah,
Biden,
Biden's coming up, man. There's
Well,
hope.
Here's one of the things that is, as we live in West Texas, we all have to be concerned about,
Right.
and that is just a huge pocket of liberals who live in Austin and the numbers of them. You look at all the urban cities
Right.
in Texas, and Dallas, not Fort Worth, but Dallas, San Antonio, maybe not so much San Antonio, but Austin. I mean, those are huge numbers.
Right.
And we have to be concerned as conservatives about how big the urban market is becoming and how liberal it's becoming because it diminishes our vote and our conservativeness out here.
Well, one of the things that, I remember covering city council, and you have to excuse me, Mayor Gunner, when Mayor Morrison was there, I was kind of like getting, that's when I was doing all my deep coverage of cities. So a lot of the things I remember. But you remember a lot of the situations where Austin would legislate or give you mandates you had to do?
You still do.
I mean,
That hasn't
what was the biggest one under you when you were doing?
Stormwater. That was a mandate that cost us a fortune.
And everyone complains about the stormwater fees on their water bill.
They do.
I mean, they still.
It's huge.
They should.
Yeah.
They're too high. They're
Uh-huh.
way too
But you
high.
can't adjust, it's one of those things, again, it's a mandate. But
Well,
you look at things like the.
We didn't
fund-
have to create a brand new complete department.
Well,
We could have made it part of
you
the public
did it,
works.
I didn't.
I
Let's
voted
just
against
remind
that.
everybody. I wasn't
But
there.
it was mandated that you had to charge so much for stormwater, and then the city went ahead and created a department with five
it
head
could
or
have been
something.
part of public works. I mean, a man out, they said, clean up your waterways.
Mm-hmm.
A man with a broom and a dustpan,
Right.
walking down the road doing that, could have met the mandate. I mean,
Right.
if you want to get right down to it.
Right.
But we went in and created a multi-million-dollar
Operation.
complete department with trucks and tractors and dump trucks and graders.
We
and
still have that?
maintainers. Oh yeah, and that's completely separate from public works.
But you still have to charge that much tax no matter what.
Oh, it was massive amounts of taxes that we rose.
Well, they've changed the law too, because it used to be quality, now it's quantity, or it was quantity, now it's quality, it's both. And so originally it was one of the Qs, now it's two Qs, and it's, they just.
So you
piled
can't
it on.
you can't get by with
I used-
the dustpan.
I used to brag about the fact that we had reduced taxes 9 cents during the time I was on, and we did.
Right.
We reduced it 9 cents.
You did.
But stormwater, guess
The
the
fees.
amount of money, a backdoor tax amounted to about 9%. So yes, we gave it back on one end, and then we turned around the back door and stuck it to them.
You always talked about fees. You were
I don't
always.
like fees.
Everyone should talk
I don't like
about it.
fees.
Yeah. All right. So under you've
Yes.
been mayor for 2 years now. What's the biggest mandate you've had to deal with?
Well, really, it's the things that are continuing, but TCEQ and the EPA will constantly get the city everywhere you turn around. But it just keeps adding on, and just like the stormwater, it used to be quantity, now it's quantity plus quality, or maybe it was quality, now it's quality plus quantity. You can't, and so they just layer on top of, on top of, on top of. And we know that whether it's the state government or whether it's the federal government, it's one of the things Trump's done a great job of, and that's really trying to address the big issues of mandates and regulation and forcing people into creating regulations that are not necessary.
But what do you say about these people voting for Bernie Sanders? They're saying, well, you don't care about the cleanliness of the water in our environment if you're against our stormwater plan. I mean, they act like it's you. If you're not for this, you must be for the destruction of it. And you're gonna be dumping your motor oil down the Concho River, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, all I can say is that people, when they're younger, have a different perspective than when they're
The
older.
millennial thing. Remember when we had Lane Carter?
Nothing is free.
Nothing.
I mean, nothing is free.
You pay for
And Bernie
everything.
can promise them free education and free money. He can promise all of this stuff, but somebody's paying for that.
Yeah, they
And
are.
when the government gets a hold of something, prices rarely go down.
Right.
Well, and it's hard to get regulation pulled back down once
Yes,
it's
it
out
is.
there. Once it's created, it's tough to
Bureaucracies
change
are hard
it.
to beat.
It's hard to beat.
All right, Mayor Gunner, one of the things we've been talking about, and I think a lot of the readers are interested in, is the cost of housing in San Angelo, which is pointed out this morning. It's a nationwide phenomenon. But one of the things you quote out of our housing study that was just completed, which
We
Dwayne.
did a study.
Yeah, we did a study. Well, Dwayne doesn't like doing studies.
I
You
don't
want to study first to determine what study to make.
Well, here's what I will say. I don't like consultants much, and I don't like studies much, because generally they're just put on a shelf and they grow dust, and so I'm not supportive of them. But I will tell you, this study has been a very important part of addressing issues
And
here
you
in
can
San Angelo.
and you can get it at economicdevelopment.cosa.
DC.
Arion
Not-
County, 100% reporting, August Fluger, 65%.
Arion County Home and Merchant, 65% with a 100%
Merchants
reporting.
Homes.
All right.
Arion County
Arion
Yes.
County. And hopefully you can refresh. If you're looking on our webpage, looking at the live thing, you can refresh the page, and the number should be updated. If not,
Tom
it's
Green
Yanta's
County-
fault.
Is
Yanta's
Tom
Green's
Green
fault.
County
Yeah.
putting anything out yet?
Tom Green County, only 2.86% reporting. That's probably early voting.
Tomlin County's on the struggle bus right now.
Tom Green County is on the struggle bus. So said Manny Diaz, the man of many little sayings like that. You know another Manny Diaz saying is he always on these videos we do for the football, he'd always say, and he was G to the O-N-E, gone. and then if he wasn't G to the O-N-E, he was just getting a little something. Anyway, those are Manny Diazisms.
Chunk of change.
Yeah, chunk of change.
A little 3-4 yard gain on that.
Yeah, chunk of change is like 1, 2, 3 yard kind of thing. That's like a wall high school play, you know. You just run up the middle and get a little chunk of change. And then but did you know that August Pfluger was a quarterback at Central?
I do.
I didn't know that.
I did.
know it.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Wow. We learn something new every day.
Life
I mean,
is amazing.
all I heard was I was a fighter pilot. I was like, well, big deal, you know. What's the big deal? All right, back to housing.
Yes.
Housing survey says it's going to cost, it could, or it does, average cost, what, $900 for a one-bedroom apartment?
Mm-hmm. Yes, what's really important about the study is it really breaks it down in terms of hourly wage, in terms of salaries. If you look at what the standards should be for what you spend on housing, and so it breaks it down by all those categories, whether it's hourly or whatever, and says, okay, so this person should really buy a home that's valued at this. That would be the
Because
right thing.
if you make 50 grand, you should be able to afford a $180,000 house
Yes.
or something. It has thresholds how much you
It
supposed to, how much percentage of your earnings you spend on housing. If it's
Yes.
above 40%, then they say you're struggling, right?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
you're putting too much into the rent payment, which really
Right.
creates a problem in the rest of
But
your
no one's really
life.
looked at housing that way
They haven't.
here. So
No, it's been a really important part of a focus, and it has been nationwide, but I believe San Angelo is on top of it more than anybody else is, and the military group has said that we've gotten stars for how advanced we are in terms of...
when you say the
getting-
military, it's because we have Goodfellow Air Force Base and we have all
Yes.
the working agreements and the P4s and stuff, and so they all kind of understand
And
what
they
we're
know
trying
that
to do.
there's a housing issue
Mm-hmm.
and that had not been addressed, and so what they're looking at is they have the same problem as the residents do, and that is they only get X amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to go find a quality place. You might find a place for $600 a month, but you take a look at what you're living in for $600 a month, and it's not a quality of life.
Mm-hmm. It could be a three-story apartment up in
That's where we
Lakeview.
need to put it. Let's build another one in Lakeview.
Here's
Well-
what I say, we have put apartment complexes in every district. We've just approved one in Bentwood, we've approved one in the Bluffs.
All right,
We're-
so Mayor Gunner, we have
Yes,
to
sir.
understand that since he's left
Yes.
he's left the hot seat, he no
Yes.
longer has to represent the entire city, so
I know.
he's like Mr. Lakeview.
Well, and I
So-
say the following, is that if you take a look at it and you say that San Angelo was rated one of the top 6 fastest increase in pricing of housing in the nation.
And one of the things that has not been brought up, and I see this because, Mel Register and I work on that West Texas Real Estate Live. We publish all the featured listings. Well, we don't like it when the housing is too hot because, for example, 2 years ago when we started West Texas Real Estate Live, our real estate thing every Sunday, we'd have 400 to 500 listings in MLS, But now you're lucky if you got 179.
Because the market,
It's just gone crazy.
no inventory.
Yeah, no inventory
And
at all.
so when there's no inventory, people are having to pay more for a house. I mean, again, we're in the United States of America. We've had one of the greatest increases in pricing of housing of any market.
You mean San Angelo, Texas?
San Angelo, Texas,
Is
not
it-
Texas, San Angelo, Texas.
So what was the increase last year?
Well, from 2010 to 2018 was like 48% increase.
48% in value. So all the people that bought
Nobody
a house.
got that big of an increase in their own salaries.
Right. What have
So
you
you
bought?
put
What
that
have
in
you, what have you
perspective.
bought your house in 2004? I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, I'm going to ask you this. You might be in trouble.
Oh, no.
But remember this. In 2008, the housing market crashed big time.
Right.
People stopped building because the inventory was so large and so many people were in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had from 2008 till now where people weren't, many home builders went broke.
Mm-hmm.
We have half the number of home builders in San Angelo today that we had in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So people weren't taking a lot of risk in terms of building inventory.
Right.
And only since 2017 have all of a sudden you're starting to see some building happen. But it takes a while from the moment you approve the plan, like in these apartment complex. They'll start it this month. We won't see it for 18 months in terms of availability to the market.
Right.
So even though we're addressing the issue, it won't impact it for another 12 to 18 months.
Well, what are you doing to address it?
we're.
Well, but
doing
what can the government do to address the housing shortage other
Well,
than?
the government, as I say, I don't think the government has to be responsible, but what we are doing as a city council are looking at things like, we talk about regulations, we talk about ordinances,
Mm-hmm. So
we
you
talk
talk
about
about
the things that make it
So
more difficult.
You're talking
to-
about like regulations against like subdivision builders?
Or things that say, you know what.
I'm not
we're-
against, but they have to abide
Yeah,
by.
We're finding that we need to change some of the things. If let's say in Lakeview, if most of the streets were built originally at 26 feet wide, why would you all of a sudden start demanding them 40 feet wide? Because that's what's out there in the ordinance.
So if you're going to build on to like 39th Street, eastbound toward the apartment complex.
The single-family housing plan development that will be
Yes.
inclusive of a park as well, that development.
Too many people in that area. Too many people
Oh, wait.
in the planning department.
Now, I was just joking, but he has a real opinion
Yeah.
about it. but-
Well, and we're not
serious
going to
about
debate about it right now,
Yeah.
okay? So that's what we're
But,
not going to do.
but anyway, what I guess the example is, and I'm sorry if you didn't think, we're on this long Facebook Live thing, so we just like talk. But anyway, 39th Street, dead ends, if you're going to build onto it into the next, I guess next, you're going to build another block onto it, under the current subdivision laws, if the ordinance say you got to build a 45-foot wide street, you got to hook that up to a 27-foot wide street. So
I mean,
it makes stupid.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so what we've looked at was what do we need to do and change the ordinances to make it easier and less expensive to develop?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't, two things impact development and price of a house: infrastructure and
Mm-hmm.
cost of lot. Those two things drive what's going to be built on top of it.
Right.
And if you have to spend an arm and a leg on infrastructure, whether it's street, curb and gutter, whether it's water, sewer, you're in trouble.
Have you looked at the banks and what they will loan people based on certain credit scores and income levels? I mean, aren't they kind of maxed out on like the subprime at about 160, 170? Like it's $160,000, $170,000 house?
Well, one of the great things that a couple of the home builders are doing is they're also working with people to improve their credit scores, so that they, it's not just about trying to get somebody to buy a house because I'm building the house. It's about home ownership. It's about creating a quality of place, and the quality of place starts with the quality of door that you walk into at night. And that quality of door is different from everybody,
Right.
depending on your income, depending on where you want to live. Not everybody has the same expectations or the same income, but quality of place, quality of door, quality of life starts in the house and where you live.
Right.
And so what we've got to make sure we do is look at what quality of life is in this city and make sure if you have a 98% apartment, rents are, the
Well, you say
apartments are 98% full.
Right.
Well, when they're 98% full, they get a charge $900 for a single bedroom
Right.
apartment.
But put that in perspective. When you say the apartments are 97% rented. I look at the average daily hotel room use in San Angelo because I'm on the Conventions and Tourism Board. It's like they're like at 70%. It's easier to get a hotel room in San Angelo, Texas, much easier than it is to get an apartment.
Okay, and so you look at that and you say, we have to have some more apartment complexes in this city. Not everybody wants to own a home. Not everybody wants that obligation. Most everyone in life started out living in an apartment before they ever
Right.
had a home. And so you look at it, whether you're military, whether you're a student, whether you're right out of college or whether you're in college, apartments are part of life. And you can't afford $900 of rent when you're 22 years of age, your first job.
Right.
And so what we're trying to do is look at it and say the following. We've got to go back to the government thing. Bureaucracy of City Hall of San Angelo. What do we need to do to change the ordinances to allow for a faster, quicker, more efficient permitting process? What are the things that get in the way of that happening? Because time is money. Right now, if you have something in your project that all of a sudden they spot it and say, oh my gosh, that wasn't on the plan. Oh, well then you got to go back to the planning department, and hopefully they just didn't have a meeting yesterday.
Right.
So you don't have to wait a month to get on the planning meeting, and then get on the city council. Well, you could be 60 days, and the project stops.
Right.
Because of that one little thing.
And that costs a lot of money because you're
Costs a
paying,
lot of money.
because you probably got a big old jumbo loan with the bank to
Yeah.
finance the building and you're paying interest
right.
on it. Yeah.
And so those are the things that we're trying to be more efficient at doing, and what are the things that get in the way. And that's one of the things that we can do to do that. you know, San Angelo hasn't had a great reputation in terms of being supportive of building and development in this city. We have to change that. If we don't have growth, we're in trouble.
And of course,
growth is important. You have to have it.
it's a good thing to have this problem because, like when you were mayor, we were solving another problem that had to do with growth, which was the water, right? I mean, the Hickory, that was radical back then. Remember the Hickory Reservoir, building a $122 million pipe, and everyone's saying, why do we need that? But what do you think is going to happen with this infield program you have? Right now, the city you can apply for like a $5,000 credit if you're going to build on a lot.
Infill lot, which is the infill areas are based off of CBDG areas, so those are designated.
What is CBDG? You've been talking about that for. What does that stand for?
I don't know, but community development.
Something.
But
some kind of government thing.
It is, and it's the areas that have been designated in neighborhood development under Bob Sala. So those are the areas.
So you could live in a neighborhood where there maybe the house next door to you burned down back in 1972 and they never built it again.
Correct.
So it's an empty lot.
That's correct.
Right. Well, what else is on the horizon? You got to have some controversy coming, some fun, because we're in the news business now, and even Mayor Morrison now is in the news business. So we want some controversy.
I'm not going to create any controversy. It usually creates itself when you're not looking, so I'm not going to be looking for any right now.
Is that true?
That is very true.
Just when you think things are going smoothly, something
It blows up.
on you. So,
Al Bundy used to say on Married with Children, I hate to have a good day.
yeah,
I know what's coming tomorrow.
exactly.
Well,
But, you know, we don't believe that just because the Hickory Aquifer has secured us some water, that's enough.
Right.
We've got more projects out there.
I heard
So-
there's something about to happen.
There's a couple things about to happen.
What's going to happen?
Well,
I'm in the news business. I'm supposed to ask.
Well,
Something that's about to
When
happen.
we can make an announcement, we will, but let's just say the following. We are continuing on the Concho River Water Project. So that regardless of what else that we're working on, we're going to continue with that.
And I'll just say this is important from a business perspective, and I kind of speak for the business community since I own a business in town just like y'all do. But anyway, it's important. I was with a real estate developer in downtown. I said, why don't you buy some of these buildings and just fix them up? You know, he goes, I would not, and this is back in 2011, 2012. He says, I wouldn't spend a dime in this town. Y'all don't have enough water. I mean, the word was out back then. We didn't have enough water. But that's not the case now, right?
It's not the case. You know, you want to always make sure that you understand there's always a drought on the horizon. And so what you have to do is to make sure that what you don't always do is count on surface water. And we have to continue to do two things: drill the additional 5 wells at the Hickory Aquifer, and we have to look at the water treatment facility, because we have to be able to treat more water when we need it.
You mean we're going to build a potty water facility?
No,
I
we are
hear some
not.
controversy.
No, we are not building potty water, but our water treatment plant is how many years old?
1922.
Well, way back.
We're almost
Okay.
100 years old.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the
Old
point,
as Dale Velasquez.
yeah.
Is Del Velasquez here? Where is he? Oh, he
So-
shrunk.
So we have to get the water treatment plant done.
Right.
We have to.
You have to do something about it. And there's also, this time around, we're looking at a more holistic approach because you're also using the river to clean some water.
That's the point.
Right.
And so in that, as you grow in population, that should increase the gallons. And so it should help you. But right now, with all that we're doing, we feel very secure with where we stand on water up until year 2070. And I say, but every year passes, you got to be looking for, 2075 and 2080 and 2090. And we can't just be satisfied that we've got us to 2070, because Lake Ivy, surface water. Lake Nasworthy, surface water. I mean, surface water gets you in trouble.
We got 72 comments on this thing. Of course, it's coming from Facebook, so you have to kind of put it through the filter. But
What's going to happen, Brenda, though, when we keep filling these wells in Hickory? I mean, that Hickory is a huge reservoir that takes care of people all the way down to Llano and to San Saba and Brady. It covers it's all they've got. And if we continue to drill these wells and pull that water out of the aquifer, send it to San Angelo, and we reduce the level of those wells, we are creating a liability for millions and
I
millions
don't believe
of
that's
people.
true. Don't
I do.
support that.
your argument, Dwayne, is that once they see us sucking all that water out of there, they're going to scream to high heaven, and they're going to go to Austin and stop us?
Look at the Ogallala though. You know,
What's
that
that?
thing, that's that goes all the way up into Kansas and through Lubbock down to Big Spring.
right.
You know, I can remember 40, 50 years ago, that water was up at the surface, and now it's I don't know how many
That's
thousands
because
foot. They're pulling it out faster than what it comes in, and that's when you start pulling out faster than what the aquifer will recharge your mining water. And that's what worries me about this hickory. When we were pulling out with the wells that we had and was taking that water, we were taking enough for San Angelo, but we were not taking enough to become a liability to the rest
But
of
we
the
really,
aquifer.
are we taking any right now? Is it just
1,500 gallons a day, it's nothing.
1,500 out of like 13 million gallons that we use a day?
That's correct.
All right, Pfluger, across the
What we
district.
got?
Pfluger is he's won 57